It's extraordinary because I remember back to 2015 when all of this polling started to suggest that in the then Labour leadership contest, a man called Jeremy Corbyn seemed to be doing rather well. And for weeks upon weeks, the media tended to not believe the polls, that there was something peculiar going on. And lo and behold, he goes and wins the contest by a considerable degree. Are we seeing...
Indeed, and particularly amongst the Labour Party members, as opposed to the other groups who were able to vote. Again, YouGov's final poll in 2015, 2016, very close to the actual distribution of votes amongst party members,
So if we go by that past performance of polls, particularly in leadership elections, Rishi Sunak has got an enormous mountain to climb. A 24-point lead for Liz Truss in that latest YouGov poll, albeit 15% of undecideds. But potentially the more damaging thing for Rishi Sunak isn't that headline number in that latest YouGov poll, but another question they asked, a question they asked on trust. 40% of Conservative members do not trust Rishi Sunak. The number who do not trust Liz Truss is just 18%. That's a big problem for Rishi.
Yeah, undoubtedly, and presumably that's partly reflecting the fact that, Mr. Sunak was meant to be a low-tax, low-state Conservative, but found himself presiding over a high-tax and large state economic development. And the truth is, Mr. Sunak's problem is a problem that the Conservative Party collectively faces and which is now being played out in this contest. So in the wake of COVID, not only did we spend record amounts to save the economy during the pandemic itself, but we also discovered that we were going to end up paying record amounts of spending and accompanied by record amounts of taxation in the foreseeable future as well. And that's left the Conservative Party in a very uncomfortable position. And in a sense, Liz Truss is articulating that discomfort and saying we ought to do something about it. Of course, the question that has to be asked on the other side is, well, how in the long run is this Liz Truss cuts going to pay for? Now, she is saying reducing taxation, that will help to achieve economic growth. And lo and behold, by also being willing to borrow a bit more, we'll be there. But of course, it may be if that doesn't work, we have to reduce expenditure. Another thing, however, I discovered when you look at Tory members, they're not necessarily that keen on lower taxation if it also were to mean lower spending. Remember, by the way, Tory members are disproportionately older. Older people use the health service more. Older people use social care more. So I think one of the things that perhaps Rishi Sunak has to do is indeed to focus on what might be the public expenditure implications of Liz Truss's plans, because then we get into another debate where perhaps Tory members are not quite as certain as their position as their undoubted discomfort about the fact that we're spending a great deal of money.